Hi there, it's Diane Forster and welcome to I Have Today. This is our live series where we empower, inspire, and educate you each week. And each week I bring on fantastic guests who are CEOs, authors, experts, influencers, and life changers. And they come on and tell their stories on how they reinvented their own lives through their own transitions to become the successes that they are. And today I am so blessed to tell you who my guest is. I am so excited about the show. And before I even get into her and her name, I want to tell you right now, sit down, get a cup of coffee, get a glass of wine, text your friends, watch this show. This show is going to be a game changer, a life changer. I'm so excited. So my guest today is the famous, beautiful, one and only Barbara Roberts, who is a world-renowned face reader. She's so fantastic. Let me read you her bio and tell you just a little bit about her. She's going to share more of her story, but let me just tell you. Barbara Roberts has appeared as a guest on 75 national, local TV and radio shows, Hallmark's Home and Family, Tyra Banks, NBC News, The Young and the Restless, The Learning Channel, Inside San Diego, Morning News, and Fox 5. On YouTube, she has 1 million viewers watching her. Actually, it's over 1 million viewers. It's fantastic. She has read 10,000 people's faces in her 30 years of doing this. And her 500 classes include those for the U.S. Navy, Fortune 500, Jenny Craig, and Wells Fargo. She has read the faces of Oprah's production staff and TV talk shows Christina. Her book on Amazon.com has over 200 5-star ratings, and we've got her book right here. We're going to talk a lot about her book. Barbara was co-winner of the Hewing Medical Award for Clinical Research at UCSD and has graduated Phi Beta Kappa magna cum laude from Case Western Reserve in social psychology. In her personal life, Barbara's intuitive spiritual approach to face reading combines her own 40-year personal journey of psychological transformation and meditation with the scientific accuracy she developed in clinical medicine. Hers is the only face reading system to honor all ethnic groups, ages, and genders. Her book, Face Reading, How to Know Anyone at a Glance, is what we're going to talk about today. So welcome, Barbara Roberts. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk with you, hear your story, and get into just your journey and how you got to be where you are today. But what we do, before we get into that, first we want to do the two things that we do every week on this show, which first is to announce our theme for this week. And the theme is how to trust your judgment of someone. How perfect a topic is this for us to talk about? So a few weeks ago, I changed the format of this where I had my guests on the entire time so that we can talk about the content together and the topic so that you can get another perspective from there on how you can create awareness of this and how this is showing up in your life and how to turn this around and make it so that it's working for you in your life versus against you. And so this is a huge thing for people. Trust is a huge thing. Huge. Trusting our judgment is a huge thing. And so the question I have to ask is, have you ever been burned? Because who hasn't been burned, right? And, you know, you think you know somebody and then you realize, you know, things happen and you really don't. And so one of the things I want to say, you know, personally, of course, this has happened to me. It's happened in my personal life. It's happened in my professional life. I think that's happened to everybody. Mm-hmm. And what I learned along the way is I learned a couple of things that I now do to tune into my own trust and intuition. And I know you have a lot to say about this too, because you're the master at this now. But one of the things that I wanted to share was that one of the ways to learn to trust is to really tune in and listen to your intuition, right? Definitely. So that inner voice, trusting that gut feeling, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that in terms of?
Well, it's interesting. When I was on Tyra Banks, we did several shows out of New York, and that was the comment she made. Yeah. She said, you'll have this initial intuitive hit. And she said, it's when we override that, that we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Now, the part that I would say on this is trust is huge. And Face reading is a specific practical skill that will tell you exactly who the person is ahead of you.
Yes.
You know, what is this person like? Mother-in-law, father, dating person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can know within 5 seconds, is this someone who's safe for me? Is this someone I have, if we want to call it karma with, or we have things to learn from? But you'll know right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a specific skill. And the more people look at people closely and see them, you know, we're used to looking at people without seeing them. Face reading shows you what they are.
Yes.
Who their temperament is, what you can expect from them.
Right.
And then you can make decisions. Then you can use your intuition even more.
Right, right. So,
it's
you're
a very
taking
specific skill
along with a gift together. And
Mm-hmm.
well, that's great. Yeah. And well, one of the other things is also to pay attention to those signs. And by that, what I mean is to listen carefully to what someone is saying to you. And I have experienced this myself. When someone tells you who they are right away, believe them. You know,
Yes.
If a man says, you know, I really love women, believe him that he really loves women. He's
Not
probably
you.
not going
Women.
to be loyal to you, right? You know, that's just one example. But you know, there's so many where people are telling you who they are right from the get-go, and to really pay attention to those signs, right?
Well, the overlay to this also is I do a whole thing for women dating on the internet, because the right and the left sides of the face will tell you who this person is their whole life.
Yes.
And so all you have to do is look at their photo on the internet. And I'm going to explain that quickly now. We can do a whole time on that.
You do it quickly. I was going to say, you do it quickly.
So,
no. So that they can get it, because I have taken a class with Barbara and I've seen this, and I have this skill now. So I know what to look for. It's so powerful. It's really
okay.
Cool.
So this is how it works. The right side of someone's face is your work life.
Yes.
It's what's happened to you from your family of origin. Outside. The left side is who you are inside. Mm-hmm. And inside is the most important, because that's the person you're going to be married to, the kids are going to relate to. That's their inner person. So when you're looking at someone on the internet and you're looking at a photo, the optic nerve turns in the back. So basically the left side of someone is across from you. So that's their personal life. So if you're out on a first date with someone, of course you don't go like this.
Right.
It looks a little strange.
Right.
But you look at the left side of their face, and that will tell you who they are. Yes. And I have lots of stories about that.
She does. Well, I saw the George Hamilton picture, the Abraham Lincoln picture, all of these fantastic. Oh my God! When you look at it, you go, you can see it. When you know what to look for, you can see it.
May I tell a quick story on this?
Of course, I love this.
A woman, I do internet work on Skype all the time in individual sessions, and a woman came years ago, and she brought a photo of her husband, and obviously everything's confidential, so I'm going to change the story. But her husband was a world famous economist, or someone everyone knows.
Okay.
And known for being particularly kind and loving and a philanthropist and Okay, so here's the picture of her husband. The right side of his face, which is his world life, that's how people see him, how they honor him in the world, was spectacular. You know, just humanitarian, kind, wonderful. But the left side was completely different. And the left side is how he treats his wife and his children. And I looked at the left side, and it was particularly cruel and very cold. And I usually start with positives when I do face reading, but I looked at her and I said, is he beating the children? And she said, yes. And no one sees it. No one sees it because it's all hidden.
Yes.
And that's the left side. But the body never hides anything.
Right.
And face reading is the understanding of the body-mind. Mm-hmm. And so before Freud, face reading, the system that I developed and used, was used throughout the world for understanding people. Yeah. And when Freud came into Germany, he split medicine and psychiatry. So now they're split. But before that, face reading was the system.
Yes.
And so the body never lies. The body will show you, who is this person? Mm-hmm. And so you can gain that skill.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It really is. It is. Yeah. Okay, all right. And then the third way is to really to trust your judgment of someone is to ask around. Ask around. I mean, do your due diligence when it comes to somebody. You know, get references, find out personal and professional experiences. If it's someone that you're looking to hire, or it's someone you're looking to date, or get into a business relationship with, or a partnership or anything like that, you really want to get several referrals and personal experiences with someone, and don't just go on that first initial meeting or response if you haven't done this.
I agree.
Yes, because you can get burned badly, right?
Absolutely. The story that is my favorite is Abraham Lincoln. And he had, in the White House, the cabinet was assembled, and there was, actually it's a true story, a man wanted to be, I'll make it up, Secretary of the Treasury. So the man came in, Lincoln took one good look at him, and Lincoln was an expert at face reading. It's called physiognomy. This is how he chose his witnesses when he was doing—
Physiognomy, I'm gonna have to remember.
Yeah, the old name. Anyway, so the man came in to the White House. Lincoln took all his dossiers and all the papers and read them, and it sounded like the man was spectacular. But he took one look at his face, and he said to the man, "Will you excuse us?" And the man left. And Lincoln said, "I don't want this man anywhere close to me." And it turned out the man had forged all his papers and was actually a felon who had come out of prison. And Lincoln's comment was, "Show me a man who's 40 who is not responsible for his face."
Yeah.
So Lincoln knew immediately this man was not who he said he was.
Wow.
So there are ways that I cover in the book to know right away, is this person, even if they're telling you what they think you want to hear, are they authentic?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the goal.
This is such powerful stuff. I mean, talk about life-changing knowledge and a skill set for people. So, all right, well, that covers our content for the show. And then what I want to do is give us our weekly intention for the show, which is I have today to trust my inner guidance, which we're going to talk about how Barbara got to doing what she's doing, and how the role of, learning the skill, and how the spiritual influence came to be. So so please share your story with us. It's so fun.
Well, actually, I was working at UCSD in clinical medicine, and I went to India to meet Mother Teresa of Calcutta, because I was so inspired by her life. And when I got there, I always was telling Diane, it's like, my life's going this way, left brain, clinical medicine. God had another plan for me. And so I came back very, very sick. And then over time, this is when I became interested more in face reading, more intuitive work of looking at people from a deeper level. And so that combined with just when I work with everyone individually, I have the skill of doing the face reading, but I always pray and ask for guidance.
Yes.
Show me what's true about this person. How can I be of service? How can I express love?
Yes.
And one story, on my way to NBC Nightly News, someone said to me, "Well, how do you feel about doing live television?" And I said, because I've done, 10 TV shows or so. And so I said, if it's about me going to serve and give love and skill, I'm great. If it's about me personally showing up, I'm dead.
Yeah.
I have the narrow face. I'd rather hide behind the couch.
Yes.
So, but when we're in our skill and striving to help people, then whatever your gift is, whether you're a healer or a computer analyst or a mom, we use the best we have going. And of course, my personal philosophy is just praying for guidance, and then use our skills and give the best we can.
Yes, yes.
So that's
come from a place of service.
Absolute. Service is the most important.
Okay, I know we're going to talk about 2 topics, but I have one question that I want to ask.
Sure.
Can you remember the first moment that you knew that you had this gift?
Gosh, I don't remember that one. That's a really good one. Well, I'll tell a story that was like this. That was a combination. I was hired by a company in Atlanta, and they had 1,000 employees, and they were paying me very well. And I'd go back and forth working with their board of directors. And the company did a technical OR, operating room, equipment. And so they hired me to look at their 5 divisions of people. There was the technical division, the sales, communication, analytical, the whole different range of all these divisions, to develop a systematic prototype of facial features that would match each occupation.
Okay.
And so I did that for them. And because my system is universal for all ethnic backgrounds.
Yes.
It's universal. It works all and honors all ethnic backgrounds. And so they found that they're hiring, people didn't quit anymore because the people were in their passion. They were in jobs that fit their temperament. And so one quick story along this line, it wasn't the first time, but it was interesting because the morning I was supposed to do this huge seminar for this company and their board of directors, I woke up at 6 and I called my sister, who's a metaphysical minister and very inspiring. And I said, I'm a little nervous here. And she just said to me, just remember, Barb, God is the doer. I'm like, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
So, just like we just show up, we do what we do, and then help me God. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been the continuity. So there might not have been a first moment when I felt like this is what I want to do, but it came gradually. And then I think over time, looking at about 10,000 people, it's like I developed a sense of intuitive understanding and when to, we never go through people's boundaries when we're looking at them. It's always very respectful, but when to go a little deeper and when to hold back.
Okay.
And should I tell you stories?
I love stories.
Okay, here's another one. Another story. I was talking to this.
Lots of comments. It's great.
Talking to this woman from Poland about 2 months ago. And she wanted me to evaluate the man she loved. She was in love with him. Now, I should tell you the quote from Laura Buxton when I did KUSI about 20 shows. Laura's comment, she was the anchor. She said, if only I had known about Barb when it came to men, she could have saved me a lot of grief. So I tell people when they're dating. Anyway, and I said, I'll watch you like a hawk. I want to make sure that you do not get injured, you know, because you don't see this person closely, but I do.
Yes.
So, okay, so back to the woman in Poland. So she's sending me this picture. And so what I do when I'm looking at relationships is I evaluate who you are as a woman. You know, what are your needs? Do you have romantic fantasies that are really not going to match anybody?
Right.
Or are you really seeing clearly?
Yes.
So I look at you, so I looked at this man she really wanted to be with. So the first thing I said, because I worked at one point with the FAA in criminology, facial features. So anyway, so I looked at this man and I said, you know, he looks like he was in the mafia. And, you know, I go through the 20 parts of the face and there are all these techniques. Anyway, and she said, well, actually, he was in the mafia. And I went, oh, no. And then so I said to her, you know, the other side is it just feels like from the eye structure and the shape and blah, blah, blah. Was he ever a drug dealer? And she went, well, actually, he was a drug dealer. And I said to her, you need to talk about your self-esteem now.
Yes.
Why are you drawing someone who's so dangerous?
Someone from the mafia, drug dealing mafia.
I don't really think there's a past tense with some of these.
Yes.
And of course, I always honor people who are in recovery, who are in 12-step works, who change themselves. Yeah. Absolutely. But in this particular man's face, there was no recovery.
Yeah, there was none of that.
I always look for recovery, for healing, for insight, because we're bringing out the best in people. And he didn't have it.
Yes.
So,
well, thank God you came along. And
I think it kind of pulled her away from him before she even got more interested in. I checked on her and she's doing fine now. So sometimes when we're just at the edge of making a decision and someone goes and goes, that's not going to help you. Then we can pull back.
Yes. Well, that's fascinating. Isn't this so fascinating? So let's talk a little bit about, unless you have another story you want to share right now, let's talk about some of your stuff here, because Barbara's got this fantastic book, and we have a link for it right here on in the thread in the comment section that teaches you how to do this. And you are the only one who teaches this process. Is this correct? Well, it's my process. It's your process.
When I started doing this, Diane, in '83, I read, because I'm in clinical medicine, I read the books that were out on it, and they all contradicted each other. And so with my analytical temperament, you know, narrow nose bridge temperament, perfectionist, little small eyes, detail and precision. I was interested in developing a system that was universal, honored all ethnic backgrounds, and taught people how to be safe. Be safe in dating, be safe with your family, know the occupation that you were born to do. Those really survival and important things that we need to know. And so when I developed this system, mine's the book that is actually thank you God, the most popular on
Yes.
Amazon, the most accurate.
Yeah.
And the system's about 95% accurate.
Yeah.
For anyone. I do this. Last month, I was out of Indonesia, Costa Rica, Switzerland, Canada, and England in a week, doing Skype. So it works for people all over the world.
So at what age can you detect features of a person?
Well, if you look, I have my 25 videos on YouTube. I have several on children.
Okay.
And so oftentimes I read children and tell the parents, this is the temperament of this child, and this is how you can best be loving and serve them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be you, but here's their temperament.
Yes.
And the joke I tell people with my twin brother, the famous doctor in Chicago, and myself, is we have an analytical temperament that verges on a little perfectionist, both of us. And I said, if someone had looked at our faces, they would have said to my mom, these kids need a little more fun. They do not need more academic training. Right. I mean, we're all Phi Beta Kappa in my family. It's like, they don't need that. They need love and fun, love and fun.
Yes.
So it helps the parents to go, okay, here's what this person needs, not what I think they need, or not what occupation I think Sally should go into, my little daughter, but who she is.
Yes.
And help see their kids clearly. Early age.
Wow.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. Because our faces change. I am the spitting image of my mother right now. I mean, people say all the time, God, you look just like your mother, except for the color of my eyes. But when I was young, I looked like my dad. And it kind of went back and forth. And I look at pictures and I see that. And it's just so fascinating how you can just tell this. And that it crosses all ethnicities.
Because
it's about the shape and
I'll describe it in a different way.
Yeah. So,
Diane, there are thousands of facial features, and I probably know about 400 that I've developed. And one's the face chart I was going to show later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
In doing this, every facial feature has at least 3 meanings that are accurate for it. And because I've looked at people of all different ethnic backgrounds, it's a universal system, which is the first to honor people.
Yeah,
I think. And I grew up in St. Louis in a situation that as a child I felt didn't honor people of different ethnic backgrounds, and that always hurt me. And so that was something psychologically and spiritually I felt I wanted to do something to bring people together.
Yes.
So that you're like when I taught at Wells Fargo, you have a team of people, and if you even look at their facial features, someone's going to be an intellect, someone's going to be a salesperson, someone else is going to be a front person, and you help people understand their gifts. We don't all have the same gifts. Right.
No, we don't.
We want to use those gifts.
Right. This is a really unique way of doing. This is all those assessment tests out there and the personality types, and we're all familiar with them. But DISC and here's
the difference. This is the one you can do at a staff meeting.
Yes.
All you have to do is look at the person.
Yes.
So whereas all those other tests, they have to fill them out. Even the Myers-Briggs, you have all this information. This one, you're looking in a staff meeting across and you go, oh, this is their temperament.
Yes.
And one quick example, years ago when I taught to the Navy, this woman came up and said later she had this, what's the right word? Another woman who they were always, like this, butting heads. They were somewhat enemies for 20 years working together. And she said after she took my class, she looked at this person at a staff meeting in a very different way, trying to understand her from inside out, which is face reading. Who are you? What are your lessons? What are you working out? And she said after she did that, the woman came up to her at the end of the staff meeting and actually was very pleasant. Yeah. And after that, they became somewhat close. Yeah. So even by trying to understand people from inside out, we reach them on a soul level. We appreciate them, and people understand that.
It's very important. I love that. It is so important. That is probably the biggest takeaway from today is to really understand someone from the inside out. I think it's just fantastic. Well, that's great.
Can I tell one more story?
Yes.
I have a very close friend in Costa Rica who teaches for me, and he's a CEO. And I remember when he started with me years ago in individual work, and he said, well, what can I learn from this, Barbara? And I said, when you really see people from inside out, it'll blow open your heart.
Yes.
And it has. And he's completely changed.
Yeah.
Completely changed as a person.
Put your life in proper perspective, what's really important. And it is, we're on this journey together, and it is about the connection that we are truly all one. We are all part of the collective consciousness, and to really connect with people that way. So tell us about, because I love the whole spiritual connection to this with you. When did you really start tapping into that with this work? The analytical piece of it, but then dialing in the spiritual piece of it with it.
I think because I've been meditating, Diane, about 45 years, that's always been for me part of everything. But what happens when I studied face reading is the intuition went from like 10 to 100, where it's like on all the time. And so all I have to do, like, let's say I have to make a business something or something practical. All I do is I tune into my heart, and immediately I know the answer. And there are things that I might not have guessed. Like a really funny story was, I was in this place long ago that I was renting for the week, and people who know me know I have Zippo mechanical ability. And so the dishwasher wasn't working, and I just inwardly said, what do I do? Because I didn't want to bother the people. And I saw in my mind immediately the shape of something, and the information was open below. So I opened it, and here was this thing. And so I put it underneath and turned it, and that turned on the dishwasher.
Wow.
I mean, for me, that was like completely.
You got a direct link.
Yeah,
I love it.
One thing is a joke Laura Buxton said when we were on morning TV. We were in the newsroom, and she turned to me, and I'll never forget this. She said, which is so true. She said, Barbara is not really worldly. Of course, and then she said, but whatever God wants her to know, he tells her.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that's our goal, is tuning in on that level, understanding people where we really see them, and, just serve.
Yes.
And so that's my little goal.
Well, so, we could be talking all day about this, but before we go any further, I want to make sure that we get your gifts to the audience so they know about it. So Barbara has this fantastic talk about this, your face reading facial features chart. She's got, if you're on audio, you can't see this, but we are showing up the chart here. We have a link in the comments section. You're going to email Barbara at
face reading 1, the number 1 at AOL. And I will send you, it's a $10 chart. I will send you a free chart. So you can start looking at your brother, your sister, your husband, your kids, and learn more about them.
Yes, and you too. Look at your face too. Yeah. So she sells this for $10. She's going to give it to you as a gift for free. And then there's also something else that you are going to offer for our viewers and audience as well.
The other offer is, this is the book that I've done that's on Amazon, Face Reading, How to Know Anyone at a Glance. And as an individual session, if someone is interested in having an hour session, on my website, I charge $140 for that, Diane. But for anyone who's tuning in today, I would like to honor you by giving a discount, and the session for an hour with me on Skype will be $100.
Yes.
So email me, or, face reading 1 at AOL.com if you're interested in that offer. And I'd be happy to do that with you.
So face reading 1 at AOL.com, and put in there that you want the free chart and you want to take advantage of the $100 face reading. That is such a fantastic value. I mean, the benefits you're going to get in your life from having this. So I'm having it done. And one of the other things that we're going to do, Barbara and I met before, and I just fell in love with her. Why wouldn't I, right? She's amazing. But we're going to do some more. I'm definitely going to have you back on the show. We're going to take on some other topics, and we're going to do some trainings together. So what we'll do is pay attention to, in fact, let's do this right now. My staff is here, my team's here. So let's put a link in the comments section. If you text ODAY to 38470, you get to opt in for my 4 free gifts. but you'll be put on our email list, which then what we'll do is give you access to, we'll keep you informed about what we're doing, but we're definitely going to do some more. We're definitely going to partner and do some stuff together and really serve and teach you and
specifics.
Yeah,
specifics. Teach you, how to look at the right and the left side, giving you visuals of how it works, and so that you are better at dating.
Yes.
And you understand people better. And I'd be thrilled to come back. You can let Diane know what topics you like, and we'll just cover them.
Yes,
so I can teach
great. You. Yeah, it's great. So great. And I have book. I know. I kind of glanced at this. I'm reading this tonight. Can't wait to read this. So is there anything else that you really feel important you want to convey to the audience about you, your work, and how the importance of having this skill?
When I was thinking about this coming in, I remembered one of my favorite movies, Chariots of Fire, and the athlete says to his partner, "When I run, I feel the bliss of God." And so what came to me today for people is to just in a quiet way, tune in on what really brings you joy. And if you can match that to your life and doing that in an occupation or in your spare time and really enhance that, it'll bring you more joy. Yeah. And that will connect you to spirit, to the deeper levels of yourself. And that's when I do face reading, I feel you feel really happy. I feel blissful. Yeah. So I have that gift.
You do.
I mean that blessing.
That is such a blessing. And doesn't that all come full circle to trust again, and being able to really tune in, tap in, trust that inner guidance, that inner voice, and tap into what it is that's really important to you, where you do this and you love this, and time loses all meaning. I love that. I love this. Like, this for me is my jam.
This is yours.
I love this. I
yours.
love meeting people like you and experiencing this, and then getting this valuable information out into the world. And it is so my belief with I Have Today and intentional living that you don't have a moment of your life to waste. You have just right now. This is your life. And any day that you spend feeling unhappy or sad or angry or bitter or not truly figuring out who you are and what it is you want and how you want to live is a day that's wasted, and you don't have any to waste. And so this is a beautiful, beautiful skill that you have and gift that you offer the world to millions, clearly millions. And I really encourage you to have a reading with Barbara. Get your free chart and get the book. I mean, she wrote the book, man. She really did write the book. This is her process. So I have just loved having you on the show and can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's been great. So, all right, one more quick thing before we go. Don't forget to text the word today to 38470. And I want to say that I am hosting a very awesome, exclusive, intimate event in my home in San Diego this Saturday. So if you want information about it, what we're doing is we are taking you for the day. We are going to eliminate your limiting beliefs. We all have limiting beliefs. They're the mental blocks and the programming that's been in our subconscious literally since birth that is stopping you from living fully authentically in your true passion and purpose. And so through this day and this workshop, we're going to look at it, how they show up, where they're showing up in your lives, which ones are blocking you from getting the things that you want related to love, money, success, and happiness, and how to create triggers, tools, and new anchors to help you, when you have the awareness of them, to pivot them and turn them around so that they do not stop you and you can walk fearlessly into your life and live with confidence and feeling empowered and inspired. So it's going to be a phenomenal day. So for information on that, I know we're throwing a lot at you guys today, but we have so many gifts to give. It's also in the link here, and there's a link, and it's Eliminate Your Limiting Beliefs. There's a link right there. There's discounts if you bring friends. Come spend the day with me and let me get rid of those limiting beliefs for you. So on that note, I want to say it's been such a pleasure having you. Diane. I can't wait to have you back. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Please, any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the link. This is live on Facebook on the I Have Today with Diane Forster page. It'll also be on YouTube and on podcast shortly. So with that, I'm going to say I love you madly, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.